There's life down here, but who can get up the man in the tomb? Nobody but one with a master grip. Nobody but one with a lion's paw. The Bible says there's a lion asleep in Judah. Who will wake him? No pussycat can wake up a lion. And this pussycat leadership will never wake the black man up. You're too weak in your effort to free our people from the hand of the oppressor.
What's on your mind, brother?
What's on my mind, brother? Another video that can save our people and anybody else who listens. What's on my mind, I love to put the Final Call newspaper, bring it to the forefront, and I like to lead with our paper, our number one tool, to help us, be successful with our number one program, which is the resurrection of the day, right? Keeping it going, because we are Farrakhan, right? And that's what the minister does. But what we want to talk about today is why is it so hard for us to do something as simple as spread peace and love on the planet Earth. And we want to talk about the opposing forces that make that almost impossible if it wasn't for Allah and his messenger, and now Christ, the Honorable Minister Farrakhan, who is representing the absolute Christ, that came and raised him up, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. So we just want to talk about why do people go through so much scrutiny who stand behind the minister? And what is the minister doing that would have them throw him off of Facebook, throw him off of Instagram, and anybody else that's bold enough to stand with Farrakhan, Snoop Dogg, Stephanie Mills, 2 Chainz, and T.I. These are people that have done movies. T.I. has been in movies. Snoop Dogg has been in movies. Stephanie Mills, is a songstress, been in movies, very popular. Busta Rhymes and many, many others. Nick Cannon.
Yeah.
What happens when you stand with the minister? You end up becoming blackballed. But why is it that we don't understand that it's something covert going on, that they're losing so much respect for us that it's almost overt now? They just put it right in your face that anybody that's trying to stand for peace and righteousness is an enemy to America or society. But yet we don't promote doing anything wrong. The minister has no record of doing anything wrong. He said the only thing he did wrong was speed. He got a speed ticket. Man, never been to jail for nothing, but he can't have rights as one of our primary black leaders to be on Instagram or Facebook because they say that he teaches hate. And what we want to do is try to find that hate. We already did a video earlier showing that he's been interviewed over and over again and you've never seen the hate. So now here we are trying to go a little deeper and find out why is it so hard for you and me to believe and know the man? Like he said, somebody's teaching you to hate him or to not like him. You know what I mean? But here we are, members of the Nation of Islam, Brother Zebulon, Brother Kyle, we know the minister. We know the teachings. We study our supreme wisdom. We sell this Final Call newspaper. Where is the hate? And why are we looked down on so much? Why is it such a hard job for us to get to our people? So we want to expose some more Satan so that we can have an easier time getting to our people. You know what I mean? So what we're going to go through and what we're going to touch on So you hear it from the horse's mouth before they get us off YouTube, because that's next. But we want to talk about this 10-point program that used to be what the Muslims want. But because of the Trump administration, it's not anymore just what the Muslims want, it's what black people want. And some suffering white people who recognize and have respect for our struggle. So we're going to deal with these 10 points. Just to go a little further, delve into it a little further to see if there's any hate inside our 10-point program.
Okay.
So we're really not going to go religious today. We're just going to go with the spirit of a doomsday, because it was so powerful. And it was a beautiful, beautiful experience. Before we go into it, I want you to just, share some of the things that you went through. And then we're going to jump right into our 10-point program, because that's what it seems like a doomsday was all about.
Right.
But it happens once a year, and if we just follow this program, we can do this not once a year, but every day.
That's right.
So I just want you to open up with that, because I know you had a lot on you, because it's a beautiful experience for you.
Yeah.
You said you went there before, not as an FOI.
Right.
So I want you to just explain, how did it feel going to a doomsday as an FOI?
As an FOI, it just felt wonderful to be in the spirit of unity. And, when people see us, to just get that love from people, when people realize that we encourage the spirit of unity, we encourage the spirit of love amongst black people. We encourage the spirit of enjoying and brotherhood and sisterhood amongst black people. So it felt good to be at Doomsday,
right,
and to see that environment already taking place.
Exactly.
So it's like you don't have to talk about it as if we need to do this.
Right.
You can enjoy it as in this is what we are currently experiencing.
Actually going on.
So it's like I don't even have to explain a whole lot to anybody here.
Right.
It's already happening.
Right.
I'm just pleased to be here in this environment.
Right. Conscious community,
Conscious
right?
community.
It was
Yeah.
a beautiful feeling.
Yeah.
Not having people just tell you to get out, I don't want that, out of ignorance.
Yeah.
But people that actually read, it felt really refreshing, didn't it? It was a taste of heaven.
Yes.
I like to ask you this one before we get into this.
Mm-hmm.
What about the Europeans?
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of times the media says that we hate white people.
Right.
You know what I mean? And we hate Jewish people. Where do they fit in our movement?
Right. Well, we are a people of peace. Like at Odunde, it was an event and everybody was peaceful. And you saw white people there as well. And
Comfortable, right?
everybody looked like they were comfortable.
Right.
No one was disrespecting anyone. No one was, being nasty or argumentative with anyone. So really, it's never an issue of race.
Right. Not with us. Remember what I said, if you leave the black man and woman alone,
yeah,
then we'll be peaceful. We won't kill. The killing starts when you have a lot of instigators promoting this. But if you just leave us alone, our nature is peace.
Right. When you leave us alone, we could just do the human being thing.
Exactly.
We could do the human being thing.
Right.
Yeah.
When you leave us alone, we treat everybody the way we want to be treated. That's our nature.
Right.
To do unto others as we would have others do unto us.
And that's basic.
That's basic.
That's basic.
Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that's the best religion.
Mm-hmm.
Is to do unto others as you would have others do unto you.
That's right.
The world would be better if we can exercise that.
That's right.
So what we want to do right now is move on with this 10-point program, what the Muslims want, which is now the black program, because after the Trump administration, we can agree now on all 10 of these points. Minister Rodney broke that down a few years ago, and when I went back over it, I said, man, he's right on it. So here it is. This is the question asked most frequently by both the whites and the blacks. You see how that comes together, right? The answer to this question, I shall state as simply as possible. And that's the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad talking. Right? Point number one, we want freedom. We want a full and complete freedom. Nothing wrong with that, right?
Right.
So we can move right on to point number two.
Right.
We want justice, equal justice under the law. We want justice applied equally to all, regardless of creed or class or color.
Applied equal.
That's right.
Yeah.
Regardless of creed or class or color. 10-10-15. This is what I was sharing with a Caucasian woman that asked me if we were haters. And I gave her a paper on behalf of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and I told her that it was on me on behalf of the minister. And I've read this to her, and she couldn't believe that it was right there in black and white
Right.
Then on the back page of this Final Call, since we had Final Call,
Right.
and even before, when it was called Muhammad
Muhammad
Speaks.
Speaks, yeah.
So she took the paper and promised me that she would read it. So a little shout out to the sister, you know what I mean? Our Caucasian sister, you know, that was at 10, 10, 15, because it was for all people.
Right.
All oppressed people, regardless of creed, class, and color. So point number 3, we want equality of opportunity. We want equal membership in society with the best of civilized society, right? Now, point number 4 is where the news media starts. Point number 4 skips 1, 2, and 3 because the smear campaign against the Nation of Islam, they cherry pick our faith. And instead of going into 1, 2, and 3, which is harmonious, they jump right on 4. 4 represents what happens when you can't have 1, 2, and 3. So 4 is a reality check. You see what I'm saying? 1, 2, and 3, with the world that we're living in, is basically wishful thinking. So here's point number 4. You remember we were at Wilson Projects and we did a lecture on the 10-point program. So point number 4 says, we want our people in America whose parents or grandparents were descendants of slaves or descendants from slaves to be allowed to establish a separate state or territory of their own, either on this continent or elsewhere. We believe that our 4 former slave masters are obligated to provide such land and that the area must be fertile and minerally rich. We believe that our former slave masters are obligated to maintain and supply our needs in this separate territory for the next 20 to 25 years until we are able to produce and supply our own needs. Since we cannot get along with them in peace, this is reality, and equality after giving them 400 years of our sweat and blood and receiving in return some of the worst treatment human beings have ever experienced, we believe our contributions to this land and the suffering forced upon us by white America justifies our demand for complete separation in a state or territory of our own. Now that's very impactful. But this is an ultimate solution. This is an extreme solution after somebody goes to the extreme to take your freedom, justice, and equality away from you. You see what I'm saying? And you notice how they will start with that to make it seem like we walk in a room with this in our minds, right? Against our former slave masters. But we're trying, like all of the black leaders, Frederick Douglass, Martin Luther King, to get along with our former slave masters' children. But it's just not happening. The reality is we're more divided today than we were back then. So now this is a solution for an ongoing problem that we're not promoting. We're not generating this problem. We're not feeding this problem. But this problem is there. So like 2 married couples that can't get along, what is the solution? Should you fight? Should you kill each other? Or should you just separate? Right? Both people can live, but live separately because you're not living together properly. So this is an ultimate solution that I believe would fix our problem here in America. What about you?
I agree.
So we have point number 5. And I'll let you read that one. Share some of this.
Right. Point number 5. We want freedom for all believers of Islam now held in federal prisons.
Right.
We want freedom for all black men and women now under death sentence in innumerable prisons in the North as well as the South. We want every black man and woman to have the freedom to accept or reject being separated from the slave master's children.
Beautiful.
And establish a land of their own.
Beautiful.
We know that the above plan for the solution of the black and white conflict is the best and the only answer to the problem between the 2 people.
Right. Now that's point number 5, right?
Right. So number 6, we want. And
So
then
let's slow down with that, because one thing I noticed, it talks about people who believe in people who don't believe, right? That we should be able to experience peace regardless of your religion even.
Right.
Or even your gender, right?
Right.
So go ahead with point number 6.
We want an immediate end to the police brutality and mob attacks against the so-called Negro throughout the United States. Yeah.
Take note, this is 1965. This is how long we had the solution. This is how long we've been pushing this to our people, but having a hard time to get it. Now, if our people agree with these things and want these things, what's stopping us from being successful? We started the little video off, South Philly Soldiers show. We started off with the front page of this particular edition that's dealing with the news media. That they would put it out there that the minister's teaching hate. And we're telling you, we are living proof that you cannot find any hate. All you can find is a solution. But no devil, whether black or white, wants a solution. So that's why they take solutions and make it look like a problem. They throw dirt on the solution. So I don't want to stop you.
So let's see.
That was point number 6, right?
Right. No. We didn't finish number 6.
Okay.
All right. We believe that the federal government should intercede to see that black men and women tried in white courts receive justice in accordance with the laws of the land.
Right.
Will allow us to build a new nation for ourselves dedicated to freedom, to justice, freedom, and liberty.
Right.
So yeah, when you see this with the courts, the first thing you think of is when these children are murdered.
Right.
By police.
Over and over again. How they get off.
Right.
But the littlest thing that you do, you're in for life or kill you.
Right.
Like what Brother Joseph was saying today when he was speaking about Sandra Bland. I never knew that they took a picture of the sister after she was dead.
They propped the eyes open.
They propped her up and opened her eyes, and that was her mugshot. She was dead before she took the mugshot.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's what Brother Joseph was explaining today in his lecture. So I mean, it's things like this where we don't get justice when we go to court. Everybody knows that, that we're never properly represented, and we never experience what everybody else experiences when they go to court. But the people of color always end up, being tried the hardest.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And the police brutality, one of the points touched on, I believe that was point number 5. So all of these things that were going on back in 1965 and before, we're still suffering from it today. So we're just doing this little humble video to just see if we can get our people to come together while we still have this platform.
That's right.
That you can just come and visit your local mosque and learn and hear the lectures from our student regional minister, Minister Rodney Muhammad. We're located on 2508 North Broad Street.
By Broad and Cumberland.
Broad and Cumberland, right down the street from the Rim Shop. Come on and fellowship with your brothers. We're not done because we on number 6. We got 4 more points to go. But my spirit is being led to just say, come on and let's just break bread. Whether you're Muslim, whether you're Christian, whether you're white or black. We have community days where you can come in if you're a Caucasian person. And we could just get together like the minister and Father Flager get together and try to get some peace going in this world. That's right. You know what I mean? In the name of Allah, He was the universal God.
That's right. Number 7, as long as we are not allowed to establish a state or territory of our own, we demand not only equal justice under the laws of the United States, but equal employment opportunities now. We do not believe that after 400 years of free or nearly free labor, sweat, and blood, which has helped America become rich and powerful, that so many thousands of black people should have to subsist on relief, charity, or live in poor houses. That's right.
That's right.
Then the one thing I value, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us to do for self. So we believe we have our own farmland.
Another ultimate solution too.
Our own schools.
Another extreme solution. Because again, this is an alternative solution, right? This is something that you turn to if one thing is not working. You know what I mean? If you're suffering from one thing, then this is the alternative.
The last part about not having to rely on relief or charity.
Right.
Right.
Do for self.
Do for self.
Basic common sense.
Right. Right.
Basic common sense. Separation and do for self. Separation, again, we want to continue to push and explain that separation is what we're for, not segregation. And Sister Ava is getting ready to do something on separation, because all of the people who are ready to really put their money where their mouth is, for lack of a better term, let's get together and separate and do something for self, because the Chinese separated and they did something for self, and they have Chinatown. The Italians separated themselves from everyone else, and they did for self, and they got the Italian market. So we have to be intelligent like them and separate and get something for ourselves.
Okay. Number 8. We want the government of the United States to exempt our people from all taxation, as long as we are deprived of equal justice under the laws of the land. That's right. We were talking earlier about when the police kill or murder these children, or they murder an innocent person,
Right.
and they're put on death duty, but they still can receive money,
their pension and everything
Yeah,
else.
everything else.
They get their retirement and everything.
right? And how these services are provided through the taxpayers.
Right.
Yeah,
Right. So that's COINTELPRO, Counter Intelligence Program.
that's right.
You know, that was their little code for taking down black organizations. And they were funded. They were funded by the banks. You know?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, Wells Fargo. It was on our paper. You remember that?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. We had Wells Fargo. There was two other banks.
Okay.
Wells Fargo was one of them. Yeah. And they were funding the court fees for these cops, that they wouldn't even have to go in their pocket and pay for their own defense.
Remember that?
Right?
Now, yeah.
Yeah, Wells Fargo was one of them. Bank of America was another one.
You can look that up on finalcall.com.
That's
by the
right.
way.
The Bank of
Yeah.
America, Wells Fargo, and it was something. It was another thing. It's just not coming to me right now.
Okay. Oh, here we go. Independent education. Number 9. We want equal education for separate schools, up to 16 for boys and 18 for girls, on the condition that the girls be sent to women's colleges and universities. We want all black children educated, taught, and trained by their own teachers. Under such schooling system, we believe we will make a better nation of people.
Right?
The United States government should provide free all necessary textbooks and equipment, schools and college buildings. The Muslim teachers shall be left to teach and train their people in the way of righteousness, decency, and self-respect.
Sounds great to me, and I'm gonna read some of that too. But I want to backtrack a little bit and go back to 4, when we were talking about our suffering for 400 years. We talked about how we believe that the government of the United States should pay for these textbooks and fund us as we go to do something for ourselves and separate ourselves, just like you would do as a deadbeat dad. That's what just popped in my head. That America has literally been like a deadbeat parent. So the child support that we're saying that would be a decent thing for them to do is to pay for our textbooks and back us with this move as we separate for 20 to 25 years, because that's how long you take care of your children.
Right.
Now, I'm a father of 4. My daughter, our oldest daughter, is 26 years old.
Okay.
Right? Now, she's fresh out of college, and she's just starting to think about getting her own place, you know? But she's 26, and she's ready to go now. But prior to 26, we're responsible for her even after 18 years. But at least 18 years, you must be responsible for what you brought into the world. So like the minister said, when we were in Africa, there were no niggas in Africa. That America is the maker of niggas. So once you make a problem like this, you're responsible for fixing the problem that you made. So we're asking America to be responsible enough to help some responsible-minded men like you and myself in the Nation of Islam to help us fix our people.
That's right.
For 20 to 25 years, and after that, you are clean. That nobody can turn to you and say that you need to give us anything. Because if you give us the help that we need for 20 to 25 years, we're straight.
Then it,
Anything more than that is unfair to ask from America. Because that means you don't want to do for yourself. and you want them to do everything for you.
And then at the same time, I would just camel back on that by saying, in the spirit of do for self, you know, the nation didn't wait for America to put that, you know, to fund that 20 to 25 years.
That's right.
The nation having independent schools and education
Already
has historically happened since the 1930s. Nation of Islam has had independent schools.
Muhammad's University, right?
And independent.
Final Call newspaper. Nobody's helping us fund this, but our people.
Right.
The love is what keeps this paper in rotation.
Absolutely.
We get no funding from the United States government. The Nation of Islam stands on their own, on our own.
Right.
All praise is due to Allah.
Absolutely. All right, so where are we now? Number 10.
Okay, I'm gonna jump on number 10 because I get excited about these 10 points, so I can't let you get it all. Right? So point number 10. We believe that intermarriage or race mixing should be prohibited. We want the religion of Islam taught without hindrance or suppression. These are some of the things that we the Muslims want for our people in North America. Now, if you look up the word eugenics, they had commercials that went all the way up to 2006. They called it the Eugenic America. And that was them taking responsible people and having responsible people be permitted. Responsible people be permitted to reproduce. That's eugenics. So that you can make a stronger America. This is what they were saying, and this is what they were selling us. But since we were asleep, we never looked at that as white supremacy or racism. Now here we are as a people that the Bible calls a spoiled people. You know what I mean? Robbed and spoiled. The scriptures actually calls us a robbed and spoiled race of people. You're robbed of your name, your language, your culture, and as a result of that, you are spoiled now, where you have like a good piece of fruit that you didn't treat right or take care of. That fruit that goes bad is not good for anybody. Eating fruit that went bad will make you sick. And now we have a people that if you mess around with us too much, you get sick messing with us because of what happened to us after we were robbed and spoiled. So how do you make your race strong again? Now we don't call it eugenics. That's from Charles Galton. He's the father of eugenics. Sir, what is it? Charles Darwin. Charles Darwin's first cousin is the one that made eugenics, right? So you look up eugenics, they ended up using that, which is what Hitler used. They used eugenics reversed against our people. They would use it to stop us from reproducing once they found out that white being mixed with white did not make a stronger human being. And this is what Hitler was doing. And when Jesse Owens showed them, just like that movie Get Out was pointing out, that white being mixed with white is not going to make a person that can run faster than a black man. They flipped the script and started using that as a means of stopping black people from reproducing. So eugenics ended up being sent to Puerto Rico, and they stopped the people that they felt was not worthy of reproducing. And that became the new eugenics. And then later on with Margaret Sanger, it went from birth control to Planned Parenthood. So it's all about trying to stop the black people from reproducing.
And she actually has a quote about exterminating the Negro population.
Right.
Those were her words.
Her words.
Yeah,
and then Hillary Clinton got a Margaret Sanger Award. So put that together. And this was the #1 award, the vote of choice of black people when she was running.
Right.
For men, women, you know what I mean? Whether they were black or white, we were pushing for Hillary Clinton to win without doing our studies and studying her. But it doesn't matter because we don't vote for good anyway. We vote the lesser of two evils. See, we want to end all of that. So when we start teaching ourselves right, we just did a video on birthright. We'll have our birthright back. We'll be able to be blessed again. But this is some of the things that we want. We want our people to do what all other people do. Pull together, teach yourself, and be a stronger people for this nation. A stronger black man would make a better America. A stronger white man would make a better America. a stronger Chinese or Jamaican or any other race, if we have a nation full of strong races in our nation, it would be the America that we want it to be. Now, I want to say this too. What happens if you fall in love with somebody outside your race? Are we against that? No legislation should be against love. So when two people are in love, that's between them two people. We want to set the record straight. I'll end on that. And that's the whole 10-point program that we find almost everybody that we came in contact with at a Doom Day were with these points. So that's our little video. I don't have anything else. That's my final thought and everything else. Long live the spirit of the Million Man March.
That's right.
10-10-15. Justice or else.
Justice or else. And that's the work that we want to continue to be about.
That's right.
Yeah, let's continue to push the work of bringing our people together.
That's right.
You know, and as always, come out and visit us. We're at 2508 North Broad Street in Broad and Cumberland. If you come on a Sunday, you can come at 11 a.m. That's fine. And just let the brothers know that Brother Zebulon and Brother Kyle invited you.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Peace.